Okay, party people, welcome to another video. This is the Detail Biz Quiz. Now, it's not actually a quiz per se, it's more of a survey, but survey did not rhyme with biz as well as quiz does, so therefore I led with Detail Biz Quiz. What is the quiz? Well, it's the first survey or quiz that I released on my channel. And it was constructed based on some very specific challenges that you will face when starting your detailing business or freshly into the detailing business. Because as I've said in many times before, detailing for fun or detailing as a hobby is vastly different than detailing as a business. When you're operating a business, it strongly suggests that you actually want to produce a profit at it. That changes the dynamics of everything. Yes, if you run a detailing business, you can do something that you really love to do while making money, but therein lies the difference is, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be profitable at doing this. Therefore, when I came up with this survey / quiz, it was very strategic because I gave you 3 options. Now, you may not have seen it, so let me clarify for you. And if you are now just hearing this, but you didn't get to see it because it will be released this evening. And this video will be released tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. I'm on the West Coast of the US of A. So I thought I would answer this and kind of play along with you guys without knowing how many people will participate, what the overall consensus would be. But let me tell you what the question was. And I'm going to read it. Which of the following resources would you find most valuable if you were just starting out or have recently started out with your detail business? These are the 3 choices which I will elaborate and kind of dissect at length for you for deeper understanding. Because each of them represent 3 very significant challenges. At least they did for me as a beginner. And one of them represented a challenge that remained like even years after I was in business. It always was just so problematic until I did something about it. Once again, as I've said in my other videos, I am a solution provider. I recognize a problem, I see a pattern, and it's like, okay, there's got to be a solution for this, but I just got to figure that out. So the 3 options were this, and these are the resources. What I call my simple quoting formula to provide accurate price quotes easily. Second choice was pre-delivery inspection checklist to verify your own workmanship. Number 3, detail procedure, a step-by-step process for maximum efficiency. Each one of these components are part of the overall picture in operating a business. So let's discuss number 1, simple quoting formula. I found it a massive struggle every time I was on the phone with a potential customer because I knew in the process of trying to establish trust, build rapport, establish my credibility, my competence as a professional, so all that's rolling in my head. And now I've got to try to deliver them a price quote. But to make things even worse, I realized I needed to deliver them 2 price quotes. So the first price quote is what I call your starting at. For example, every person's going to want to know what a deal breaker is. What I mean by that is, okay, is this guy, Darren, with Auto Fetish Detail, is he even within my spend budget? Now, you've got really 2 types of people. You've got the price shoppers of the world, but you have the value shoppers of the world. But regardless of the type of shopper, because if you know anything about business, price shoppers, no good. You don't want to deal with those people. Yes, sometimes you're required to, but no good. But the point is both types of people will require a starting at price so that they will know if you're even within their spend budget. Now, most people actually operate on a budget. They've got so much money they can allocate for their detailing, seeing that they want to get the car detailed. And yes, occasionally some people have an unlimited budget, but it doesn't mean they want to spend that much unlimited money having their car detailed, because that would play into their value system. Yes, they value their car. Yes, they want it clean, but are they willing to pay $500 to have it cleaned and detailed? Or is their spend limit $300 despite them being a gazillionaire? So that's a value system. Point is, as a beginner detail or even as a non-beginner detail, you've got to give them that initial starting at price. Okay, Johnny customer, based on what you just told me, you've got a black Tahoe, you've got 2 children, 1 dog, it's got 50,000 miles on it, and it's 2 years old. Okay, starting based on that, my prices start at $350. But I'd like to ask you a few more questions so I can give you a very more accurate price. So then you can proceed through a series of questions, because one of the biggest disadvantages of being a mobile detailer is that you do not have the ability to see the vehicle in advance in person in order to arrive at an accurate quote. Therefore, you're going to have to ask a series of questions in order to form a very high definition mental picture of how much work is involved, because your time is really the greatest expense of operating a business. How much time will it take to take the car in its current condition and do the necessary work to deliver it to the state or the condition that will meet the demands or the expectations of the customer? So once again, you're going to need to deliver 2 prices. I always stressed over this. I always found myself stumbling over like, oh wait, which questions should I ask? Which order should I ask the questions? Which questions could actually be reduced down to simpler questions or actually be eliminated? How can I manage that? I had to develop a formula. Okay, number 2, which is the pre-delivery inspection checklist. Okay, this has to do with quality control in simple terms, meaning let's pretend that you just finished your detail and it's time for you to call out Johnny customer for the final inspection. But wait, stop the press. You've got to perform your pre-delivery inspection to verify your own workmanship. Hey, did I cover everything? Did I forget something? Oh my gosh. And this is where your memory, your unreliable memory, comes in. Yes, you're standing there in front of your workmanship, and yes, you will have developed what's called a confirmation bias, which means because you literally just did the work, you in your brain have already confirmed with your brain that everything has been done the way it should be done. Because if it wasn't, you would not have moved on, right? So whatever your starting point is, let's say you start by washing the vehicle. You know that it's washed because you wouldn't move on to step 2 if step 1 wasn't done. So if you go through the 100 different steps, every step of the way, you're confirming already in your head like, oh, of course I got it. So the point is you're not very objective about critiquing your own work at the very end with your pre-delivery inspection. Therefore, I knew this about myself. This is what's called self-awareness and accepting my limitations of, wait, Darren, you can't really be objective in this moment because you just did the work yourself. So I'm standing back, the car looks amazing, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, I know I nailed it. Obviously I nailed it. But wait, what if I forgot something? What if I forgot the vanity mirror on the driver's sun visor, and now Johnny customer gets in his car and 2 days later he pulls it down, flips it open, checks his face before he walks into the gym and realizes it's all smeared up and the damn detailer didn't clean it. Or he looks up at the sunroof, opens it up, it's got a glass moonroof, and realizes that there's haze up there and that damn detailer didn't clean the inside of the moonroof. It's like, oh my gosh, the panic that would stream through my body. So therefore, how do I not rely on my unreliable memory, which is why I would rather have a dull pencil than a sharp memory, because a dull pencil will allow me to take notes that I can refer every single time. Hence my my pre-delivery inspection checklist that I can go through, and now I don't have to worry about being objective about myself, because this list will flesh out any problems any areas that I overlooked. And all I have to do is have the discipline to say, okay, Darren, there's your cheat sheet. Start at item number 1. Did you do it? Let me look. Yep, done. Item 2, did I? Yep, done, 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 all the way to the end. It's like now I've just unloaded myself from that additional stress and burden that I would have, and thinking and hoping like, oh, I hope I nailed the details. I hope Johnny customer doesn't come out here and find that one spot that I missed, or that one little compartment, or that one little flap that I forgot to open, because now I just did a pre-delivery inspection checklist and I was able to do it systematically. And now I've got my cheat sheet and I can do it every single time, which also, one of the benefits is it allowed me to deliver results consistently, because now I've got a checklist. Every single time I can use it. Okay, number 3, detail procedure. So this is literally the steps. Where do I start when I detail a car? How do I end up? What's step number 1? What's step number 2? So let's just use the example of a full detail. You're going to do a full detail on a car. So what I found myself doing for the first, I don't know, let's say few months. And you would think, because let's pretend that I'm talking to, you over there, okay? You're thinking about starting a detail business. You know how to detail your car, maybe your parents' car, maybe your friends' cars, whatever. But there's going to be some time that goes in between those points when you detail a car. Maybe you've got a system that's kind of a system, but not really documented. It's just kind of documented in your head. And you think that the best way to start is by washing the car. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that's just your first starting point, because there's going to be 1,000 different steps between there and your finish point. And once again, operating a business is about being profitable. Yes, you're doing something you like. That's the big bonus, but you got to remain profitable, because if you aren't profitable, now you just have a really expensive hobby, and that gets old very, very quickly. So you got to remain profitable, which is about flushing out any what I call redundancies and making your process as efficient as possible. So you've got results and you've got, wow, I just had a brain fade here. Effectiveness and efficiency. Results, process. Okay, so results are about being effective. Can you produce the desired results? That's being effective. What's the desired result? Well, it's a perfectly clean, I know perfect doesn't really exist, but play along with me. It's a perfectly clean, detailed car that's going to meet the expectations of my customer. That's the desired result. Okay, what's the process that I'm going to do to deliver the results? That's where efficiency comes in. So I can be effective, but I can be highly inefficient. So I can be effective by producing the results in 3 hours, or I can eliminate all the redundancies and have an efficient system that can deliver those same results in 2 hours. And now, without even raising my prices, I become more profitable, because I've been able to shave off an hour of working time by having a highly efficient process. And that's where the detail procedure, step-by-step process for maximum efficiency comes in, which I have literally finessed my entire career. So when I mapped it out, I'd say, wait, is there a more efficient way? Because I knew, yes, of course, I could raise my prices and have that really awkward conversation with my customer and say, hey, Johnny customer, guess what? Got some good news for you. Actually, some good news and better news. Good news is I'm going to raise your prices by 20%. The better news is that I'm going to remain your detailer. Oh, wait, until I'm not, because you don't like my price increase. Well, before you have that conversation, guess what? There's a lot you can do to become more profitable without ever raising your prices. Yes, raising your prices is always going to be a bonus. You're always going to have to do it if you remain detailing as a career. But in the meantime, you get to work on your process. But wait for it. You don't have to spend 30 years refining your process because you can rely on my process. And once again, if I haven't said, in the link below, you can sign up at detailvault.com and you can get on the wait list for when I have open enrollment for my Smart Startup course, a smarter way to start your detailing business. So this, all that I'm covering, is all contained. I have mapped each of these 3 areas out, and I'm very interested to see what kind of participation I get, for one. Secondly, what the consensus is, because as a beginner, if in fact you have mapped out your products and tools, you got your microfiber cloths all organized, and now you know how to detail a car very proficiently. But now it comes to operating a business. So let's say you've never quoted a person over the phone. Let's say you've kind of just pulled a number out of your backside for your neighbor or your parents. It's like, yeah, I'll charge you $100 to detail your car. And you spent 4 hours in the driveway doing it. You're like, wow, that's pretty good. I just made $25 an hour. But did you? Or maybe you could find out a more efficient process and you could do it in 3 hours. So there's going to be all these things you're going to have to develop on your own if you so choose to do it on your own, which is what I had to do because we didn't have the resources that you guys have today. I didn't have someone like myself that had 30 plus years of experience trying to teach me all the obstacles to avoid, all the mistakes to avoid by teaching me so I didn't have to replicate those mistakes. It's a smart man that can learn from his mistakes, a smarter man that can learn from someone else's mistakes. And it's just a special kind of dumb for a person that's got to make the same mistakes repeatedly and they still don't learn. Okay, video for a different time. So with that said, what I want you guys to do, if in fact you've sustained yourself to the end, is I want to know if you didn't take that quiz, or even if you did take that quiz or survey to be more specific, let me know which answer you chose, and I want to know why you chose that. Now, pretend that some of you are still here and you took that quiz and you chose number 2, let's say, the pre-delivery inspection checklist. But now that I've elaborated and applied some greater understanding, maybe you say, oh, hell no. Actually, I would pick number 1 like Darren said he would pick. But Darren was speaking from experience. I don't have that kind of experience. Now he's just kind of enlighten me, and I would choose number 1 now. So whatever that is, leave in the comments below, hit the like button on the way out, and I will see you in the next video.